Hello folks, welcome back to the channel. Thank you very much for joining me once again. You are always most welcome. Well, today, spring update. We're not going to talk too much about the mosquito. We'll just talk about it very briefly for a few minutes. But I want to talk about some good news that I've had and some bad news that I've had. So I'll start with the good news. You'll recall that when I did the mosquito update, which I showed I think about a week ago, as I record this, that we'd had this very strange, in my experience, unprecedented exploding magnets in the Tamiya magnet bag, which is used in the mosquito to, as it is in the Spitfire and the Mustang, to hold the cowlings on. So what they have is they have magnets go inside parts of the engine, and then the cowlings themselves will have a little bit of photo etch, which will be the bit that magnetizes to the magnet and therefore holds on without gluing the actual removable cowls, which is a great idea and it works very well. But we had this very unusual situation where we had this exploding magnet, and it was all the small ones, and it's made a real mess. It's very strange. Anyway, several of you gave various bits of advice, and of course the main advice was go and talk to Hobbyco, the importer of Tamiya kits, and they have helped me. This is not the first time I've asked for that help. Helped me previously with my Ebro Lotus 88, which had the most another bizarre thing, actually, very unusual thing. It had a short shot, but a particularly unusual one, where some of you might remember this, where it had this cutout in the side of the bodywork that shouldn't have been there, but it was so beautifully rounded off and finished, it looked like it was deliberate, and I thought it was like a panel that was removable, and assumed there was a panel to go in this gap between these body panels, which there wasn't. And it was actually thanks to another one of the viewers who actually picked up on it and said, I've got that kit, shouldn't have a gap between the side panels, you know. So I thought maybe it had an intake or whatever. He said, no, it's a short shot. And it was so perfectly formed, it didn't look like a short shot, it was very strange. Anyway, long story, a gentleman who's now retired actually, so I won't go into too many details, but a gentleman sorted me out. This is about 18 months ago. So I approached them again, found out the gentleman who helped me last time has gone, and I spoke to, as you probably just saw, I spoke to Nick in the customer services department. Couldn't have been more helpful. I emailed him and spoke to him on the phone. And he actually contacted Tamiya, and I actually gave him a link to the video so that he could see me showing it, you know. And Tamiya came back with an interesting response, saying it wasn't a common problem, but yes, they had experienced it before. And they said it can be a combination of either, it can be force, if the magnets are smashed together too much, or it can be if it's in a damp environment. That certainly does not apply here. That model has never been in a damp environment, even remotely cold even. So it's always been in warm room temperature, completely dry, sits on top of my cabinet in fact in the hall, which some of you have seen. And that's where it's been for 10 years, literally, nowhere else. So that wasn't a factor. So all we can assume, he also said that age, they thought that age might be a factor with them as well. So I don't know, something in the manufacturing process, but he is very, very helpfully, at no charge to me, so I think 10 out of 10 to Hobbyco over in Milton Keynes there, and Nick, thank you very much. And he has sent me a complete bag. And I said to him, I don't really need a bag. I said maybe I could do with the 4 small ones, because as you know, those of you that watched last week's video, this is exploded and all the bits are now magnetised to all the other magnets, so actually a little bit unhealthy and dangerous to try and separate them. And he said, no problem, they come in a bag like this anyway, where they're all together, which mine didn't seem to be. Mine seemed to be in separate bags. But anyway, I'm not sure whether that was whether I separated them the other week, I can't remember. But this exploding thing, by the way, is very recent, because it wasn't like that the last time I got the kit out and went through it, probably just before Christmas, probably November, something like that. They weren't exploded then, I'm sure. I think I'd have noticed. So it's something that's occurred. It's just gone off like a bomb, you know. Very odd. Anyway, thank you to Nick at Hobby Company. Absolutely brilliant service. Came next day as well once they arrived with him, and I've got a complete set of magnets at no charge, so you can't get better service than that, so thank you very much, Nick. So if you ever have problems with any of their, and it's got the brands here, so we've got Tamiya, Italeri, a certain company from a country I'd rather not mention, Dragon, Badger, who else have we got? Nunu, Carson, Build Army, I don't even recognise some of these brands actually, Badger airbrushes. IGB, and it doesn't mention on that comp slip, but of course they are also the agents for ICM now, so that's worth mentioning. It's ICM as well. So there you go. Talk to the importers if you have a problem. You know, obviously mine was genuine, you can see that. It's very bizarre. Anyway, I'm a bit nervous, and I said to him in my final comment, I said, it's very kind of you, thank you very much, but I'm now going to handle them not only with black gloves, I'm going to maybe have a radiation mask on when I handle these and get them out, because you never know if one was going to go pop again. And apparently they can make a hell of a bang when they go off as well. Okay. Right, that's that out of the way. Anyway, thank you to Nick and to Hobbyco. A quick update on the mosquito. Now, I have to be honest with you, I've not called this video mosquito update because I've done almost nothing for reasons I'll explain in a few minutes. But what I have done is I've started playing around with these. I mean, it's almost nothing, isn't it? But there's actually several parts here. It doesn't look like it. This is the exhaust's shroud, aluminium heat shroud. It's basically a heat shield, really, some of the bodywork, and this is where the exhausts are going to go. And we did talk about it previously, and I went into great detail talking about how they're built up and how we're going to. It has this double, like a double manifold on the rearward pipe to try and push the pushes. So there's no sixth exhaust. There's only 5 for heat reasons to try and move the exhausts forward, because de Havillands were very worried that these were going to, if they were too close to the leading edge of the wing, which they would have been with the 6th final exhaust pipe, it could have set fire to the leading edge of the wing quite easily. And on the Far Eastern version in Southeast Asia, and the Australians were flying them, they had the exhaust, there's only 2 exhaust pipes, and the manifold goes all the way forward. Anyway, I've done a bit of that, and that's kind of all I've done. You'd be thinking, well, why? Because it's probably 10 days since I actually did some building. And I'm going to explain why, because this update isn't really so much about models today, it's more about me. I've had a bit of a health emergency, might be a slight exaggeration, but kind of not. So I've had a health problem, which has caused me to be injured, and it has led to me seeing doctors and having to go to hospital and all sorts. So I wouldn't normally go into anything like this on YouTube. I wouldn't normally discuss this with people, and I've only decided to do so after it's happened about 10 days ago. So I thought I'd think about it, and yeah, I think I will share it in a bit more detail, because it could happen to, I wouldn't say happen to anybody, but it could happen to some of you watching this. Some of you may have experienced what I'm going to talk about. And I think it's worth sharing, because I know it's not really my thing. I don't talk about, you know, men's health and mental health and all this other stuff. But this is something that was quite an extreme event, actually. And it wasn't a heart attack or a stroke, but could have been equally devastating. So I'll tell you what happened. So I won't go into too much medical history for obvious reasons, but I'm of a certain age, and I'm having some mild treatment for blood pressure, and it's all normal age-related stuff. Nothing too alarming, to be honest. Doesn't alarm me greatly. I was having some problems a couple of years ago. I used to get headaches, and we found I got highish blood pressure. Other people have had this problem as well that are well known. Phil Flory on his channel, he's talked about it a lot, and he had it much worse than me. He had it really seriously, and he was lucky that it was caught in the nick of time. But mine wasn't quite as urgent as his, so don't want to make a big thing about that. But anyway, the reason I mention that is that I'm on some treatment for that, and it's managing it fine. Absolutely great, to be honest. So the real issue is, basically what happened was, I don't know whether I should make a joke of this or not. So effectively, I basically blacked out. I went down on the floor like a sack of potatoes. Now luckily I was at home, and it was at night time. What had happened was, and this is a real warning for other people, apparently this is actually not so uncommon in people when they get in sort of midlife, shall we say, that this can become more of a problem, and people often don't even know about it. So this is something that any of you that think, oh, it doesn't affect me, just keep an ear open on this, and just at least be aware of it, and you think it doesn't affect you. So what happened was, I had an incident. I'm going to wind the clock back now. Going back about 15 years ago, I was working for a company that sold, and I was sort of quite a big job. I was business solutions manager. sorry, business development manager, that's not the company. Business development manager for the north of the UK and Scandinavia. And I used to travel to Scandinavia a lot. And I went to, on this particular event, I went to Denmark, Copenhagen. And I was with a colleague, I took a colleague with me, a technical guy. I was the commercial guy. And we're meeting one of our customers. And long story short, he suggested that we go to this restaurant. And he said, do you like seafood? And I said, I absolutely do. He said, you can eat seafood? Yeah. I said, oh yeah, God, I love it. That's perfect, you know. I went to this seafood restaurant and he recommended a couple of things. And one of the things he recommended was lobster bisque, which of course is lobster soup basically. Quite a dark red soup with, and they actually generate this. The soup is, well, I'll get more into how it's done in a minute. Anyway, so this is in the winter, and I'm wearing like a roll neck sweater and a jacket, not unsimilar to this style wise anyway, and a roll neck sweater. And we had this soup, and we're talking about business and future contracts and things over dinner, you know. And then after about 20 minutes after we have this soup, we're just about to have the starter, and I started to get very itchy on the back of my hands, and the hands went all bright red and very itchy, and then the palms of my hands started itching and they went red, and I thought, what's going on here? This is very strange. And Andy, my colleague, said, are you all right, Peter? And he said, you look very red in the face, and my face had gone like an absolute strawberry. Just checking I've got maximum light here. Here we go. And I started to feel quite odd. And of course, what I didn't realise is I was actually suffering an allergy to this lobster bisque, quite literally. Now, it's not uncommon for people to suffer allergies to crustaceans. It's one of the common allergies, in fact. But I've never had it before, but I've never had lobster bisque before. So literally never had it before. It's one of the few things I've never had, strangely. Perhaps it's because it's a rich man's soup. Anyway, I wasn't well at all, and we had this meal, and we sort of cut it short, and I shot back to the room. And my colleague and I, on the way, we got some pints of ice cold lager, and their lager is nice. It's not like the rubbish we have in the UK. It was really nice, crisp, cool, very cold. Served it very cold, almost like freezing, you know. And it's a good job because by this time I was feeling proper not right. And I went to this room. And it was a beautiful room in a beautiful hotel looking out over the sea, in fact. And I went and had a shower in the end. I started to realise my body had gone bright red, and I got hives appearing on my skin and all sorts of problems. So I had a shower, cold shower, which helped, but then I started to get this sensation of my throat, as though I had angered Lord Vader. You know what he does? He says, I find your lack of faith disturbing. And that's pretty much what it felt like. It was like I'd angered Lord Vader in a big way. You know, apology accepted, Captain Needer. Well, it was the other one that brought them out of hyperspace too close to the Hoth system, yeah? Admiral Veers, was it? Anyway. Not good. Now, I didn't actually choke, and my throat didn't close up too much, and drinking this ice cold lager, I was literally standing under the shower with the lager just out of the shower stream, drinking ice cold lager. I know, don't think about this too much, okay? But I was just to try and get cool and get the body under control. And then I realised that in my travelling gear, I've always had an allergy a hay fever allergy, basically. So I took some Piriton, which is an antihistamine, and that helped me a lot. And then next morning, I was right as rain. It was a bit of a shock. Anyway, wind forward about a year, and it happened a second time, again on business. This time I was in Scotland. Now this time, so I made a mental note thinking, lobster bisque, I wonder if I'm allergic to that. I think we won't have that again, so problem sorted, you know. So I thought. So you wind forward to my trip to Scotland in a really good hotel. I used to enjoy going to this hotel. In fact, I'll tell you where it was. It was the Erskine Bridge, not Erskine Bridge. Yeah, I've been to that one as well. It was the Forth Bridge. It was the Dakota Hotel. Remember now, the Dakota Hotel, which used to be owned by David Coulthard in years gone by. But anyway, it was partly owned by him. And they had the most exquisite food. It wasn't the best rooms, if I'm honest, nothing special about them, but the food in this restaurant was just exquisite, and they do tend to have really good chefs. Anyway, I had this this meal that was prawn risotto. Now, before you all start jumping up and down saying you shouldn't be having prawns, here's the thing. I can eat prawns, I can eat white crab meat, I can eat lobster, oysters, mussels, langoustines. I can list you just about all the shellfish I can eat. No problem whatsoever. No problem at all. But I had this prawn risotto, which was delicious. And then I had the whole thing repeat. And this time I'd angered Lord Vader for the last time. I'm making a joke of it. It wasn't funny. I was starting to really panic, you know. I thought I clearly angered the Dark Lord of the Sith. My throat was really closing up. I did the same thing though. I took Piriton. I drank some cold beer and some water, lots of water as well, and again had a cold shower. But again, the body was it was awful. Your body's on fire. Feels like it. A very extreme reaction. And the next day I survived, and the next day I went down and then demanded to see the chef. And he came out, and as soon as I started talking about it, he went absolutely white, panicking, thinking he was going to get the sack. And I said, no, I said, don't misunderstand me. I'm not interested in a blame game. I must know what was in this prawn risotto. How was it made? I said, because I understand cookery. Tell me about it. Please explain exactly how you made it. Because then we can get to actually what's causing the problem. So he told me, and it was basically that he'd boiled up lobster shells. And he said you can boil them up with crab shells and other like langoustine shells and all this. And if you keep on boiling them, it creates this lovely red sauce, and it was like a pink sauce. I mean, it's a delicious meal. Well, I didn't agree with me, clearly. So I said, right. And he said, yeah. He said it should have had a warning on it, actually, on the menu. He said, because I think somebody else had something. It wasn't the same dish, but we had a similar issue about 18 months ago. He said, with another dish. He said, and I thought they were putting it on the menu or asking people about allergies, and they didn't do. I'm not trying to blame them. So I thought, right, I've now nailed this. We know exactly. He said that actually he did go into more detail, but I didn't write it down. He said there's a certain chemical is released, like an enzyme is released when you do this, which partly gives the flavour but can make people have very strong reactions. Okay, right now wind forward to just a year ago. Sorry, I lied. It's 2 years ago. In fact, February 24. I was sitting right here at my desk modelling and doing some YouTube videos, and my wife came in Sunday. I'm filming this on Sunday now, Sunday afternoon. My wife came in Sunday lunchtime and said, I've got you a treat. I've got this crab linguine from Marks and Spencer's. You know how this is going, don't you? And it looked great, this did. And it smelled just gorgeous. You can buy this product, as long as you're cautious with it. But it does smell and taste beautiful. And I had this link, I thought, what a lovely lunch. It was only light, small meal, about so big, you know. But it was nice. Sunday lunch treat. Well, you can imagine what happened next. And the whole thing replayed again. So this is now a good 12 or 13 years later. So I've had no problems for 13 years. And now I hit the same problem again. And then it says, it contains crustaceans. Yeah, we know that. And it says crab meat and may contain trace elements of crab shell. Now this is the important part of the story, so please docket that into your mind for a second and hold it there. So again, I have this, and I took photographs, which I'm not going to show you, but I took photographs of myself that were just horrendous. I've shown people these and they've gone, oh my God, you should have gone to hospital, you know. So it's actually anaphylactic shock that I've been suffering from. A very severe reaction to shellfish, not shellfish per se, but crab shells, lobster shells, any sauces or soups that are made with those things, any messing about using them, any utensils that, you know, cross-contaminate, lethal for me. And now I bring you back to the recent event, which is why I'm telling this story. Why am I telling this story? Because this was the most serious event yet. So what did we have? What was it this time? Well, my wife bought some crab. Now, we have crab. White crab meat, I absolutely adore. It's one of my favourite foods, literally. And that never affects me at all. Now, this was white and brown crab, but it was in one of these crab shells from Morrison's, yeah? In a little crab shell, you know. And it tasted lovely. We had it as a starter, you know. And I was absolutely fine. I had it for dinner about 7 p.m. Went to bed at about 11. And then I woke up at about 12:15, 12:30. And it starts. I feel like I'm on fire. I'm itching. My skin goes red. My face goes red. I'm itching. And I got the hives all over my body and my legs and on my torso. This is really nasty. And it's like, I also got the shivers. Now, this is different. This was different this time. This was much stronger reaction. And strangely, I did not get Lord Vader choking me. No, at all. Nothing. But I did get the shakes. Literally, the shakes. Shaking. And I'm to try and lighten the mood, it always reminded me, I said afterwards to Marina, I thought I was Terence Donovan from Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade when he's drunk from the wrong cup, the deadly non-holy grail, and he says, "What is happening to me?" And it was like that, literally. I was shaking, uncontrollably shaking, like I got Parkinson's disease. Bright red, having trouble with a little bit of trouble with breathing, not my throat, but just. But the other thing that was weird was my heart wasn't racing. Some strange stuff was going on. My heart felt fairly normal, my heart rate, and I felt cold at the same time as shaking, shivering almost. And we took some more Piriton, and I drank some tonic water because it contains quinine, which is actually quite helpful as an anti-inflammatory. Don't get carried away with this. It's got tiny amounts in it, but it's helpful in a small way. It will help you a little if you have things like hay fever as well. Because I always used to drink it as a kid, and it used to help me. So I took some of that quinine tonic water, regular Schweppes tonic water, not the diet version, and these tablets, and I took some of that down. Thought that was the end of the story. This is where it takes a darker turn. Thought that was the end of the story. I was shivering. I woke my wife up. But she didn't realise straight away, and she went and got me the tonic water. And then everything seemed okay, and she sort of hugged me, in bed to try and warm me up. Because it was like being a junkie. I was sort of shaking, and then gradually it faded, and you felt that this thing was ebbing away. So I thought. And then about 40 minutes later, wife's fast asleep, and I get up to go to the toilet. Middle of the night now. It's about 2 a.m. or something. And I walks into the bathroom. And I just blacked out, completely fainted. I actually had a sensation of fainting before I woke my wife up, but that was just for a moment or two. Now this was not a moment or two, this was a full-on blackout. And I went down on the floor like a sack of potatoes. I twisted my left ankle and I smashed my foot against I'm not sure if it was the loo or more likely it was the shower cubicle base, I smashed my foot against that. I crashed my right arm, all my elbow was sore, bruises all down this arm, and right at the base of my back, your tail, your coccyx, right at the base of your bum, basically. And I'd smacked that down, I'd gone down, smack on my back, and then I was out, and I was out cold for, I think, about 20 minutes. Now that is quite serious, and I've never encountered anything like it before. Now, the reason that happened is because when you have anaphylactic shock, it drops your blood pressure very fast and a lot. And of course, I mentioned I'm on blood pressure tablets, which have got my blood pressure down to same as a 21-year-old, really, just fine. But there's no leeway for anything like that. And it wouldn't matter whether you were perfectly healthy without any blood pressure issues or not, and you have this sudden blood pressure drop, you're going down. I'll tell you that now, because you just faint. Your body can't handle it. It's just instant. And I remember as I started to fall, I didn't panic. I thought, oh, I don't feel good. Yes. It's almost like I was talking to my body. I was like, yes, it'd be better if I laid down, actually. And everything seemed to be in slow-mo, but I think with hindsight, I don't think it was, judging by the damage it's done. So I have been in pain for best part of 2 weeks. And I'm limited in what painkillers I can take because it conflicts with the other stuff I'm taking, but I smashed my left foot and I ended up going, it didn't seem to improve any. So when I came round, then I woke up my wife, and I said I'd been zonked out, But the real story here, and the real reason I thought I'd talk about it when I wouldn't normally, was that when I went down, I think I missed the toilet bowl with my head by about 3 or 4 inches. And if I'd gone straight down with my head on that, I think it'd been good night Vienna, and that'd be the end of me. And it could be, you know, it doesn't have to be the toilet bowl, it could have been the sink. That's not far away as well, that's a few inches the other way. I was so lucky I didn't smash my head on the basin, you know. I tell you what, I was really shocked when I thought about it the next day, because I thought you were so close to disaster here. Life-changing injuries potentially. Just judging by the damage I've done to my foot. Now my foot's, I had to go to the hospital and have a load of x-rays on my foot, and they did find a minor crack in the main bone. Not so severe that it needs to be, plastered. But I'm under strict orders to take things easy. And I've actually got a big one of these blue wooden shoes, as they call them. It's not really wood, but it's a flat, solid shoe with a big chunky sole that stops your foot from rocking laterally or pitch or yaw, you know. And that has been very painful. And I went to the hospital. I didn't go straight away. I went after about 10 days because I thought it's not getting any better, you know. Ironically, over the weekend, since yesterday, before I started filming this, I felt a slight improvement now. I felt the biggest improvement, the only improvement really noticeable that I've had was yesterday, when we had the very sunny weather. Funnily enough, that may have helped. But I think it shows how fast things can change, and something like that, which many people, I mean, this has only happened to me 4 times in my entire life, you know. And some of you will say, well, hang on a second, Peter, if you knew about this already, why didn't you go to the doctors and talk to them and ask for an EpiPen? That's right, I did. I did do that 2 years ago, and they said, oh, well, no, because, well, you kind of know what causes it, and I think you can probably avoid it by just avoiding, you know, crab. Now, there's some truth in that, but at the same time there isn't, because it also makes you realise, especially with the Marks and Spencer's ready meal, that I had no suspicion that was going to make me ill. And if you go on holiday or you go to an unusual restaurant somewhere on a trip or whatever, you don't know what they're going to put in that, and you can't rely on other people. The only answer is indeed an EpiPen, which is an adrenaline shot, basically. You just stick it in the neck. Oh no, somebody's told me that's rubbish. I've been watching too much Saving Private Ryan. It's in your leg. Well, it wasn't your leg, wasn't it? Anyway, you stick it in your leg, apparently in your thigh. But it gives you relief in a matter of a minute, you know, or less. So, of course, I've got another meeting scheduled with the doctors to make sure I get one of these EpiPens, because, you know, you hear these stories about people with allergies and you think, oh, yeah, really, you know, peanut allergies. But when something hits you like that, this came like a bolt out of the blue to me, and it was such a shock. To have blacked out and been unconscious for 20 minutes, this is unheard of for me, you know. And apart from a bit of blood pressure, which is normal for my age anyway, there's no other major health issues that I've got to worry about. So it's really been a shock, yeah. And I could have died. I mean, literally, I feel, touching the wood, I'm lucky that I'm still here, because that could have gone the other way so easily, so easily. You know, the fact that I didn't sense I was falling and I didn't know I had injuries until the next day, really, when I started to see all these bruises on my elbows, swelling up, all big bruises down my arm, my wrist, bruises here, bruises on my back, bottom of my back, and then the foot. And the foot has swollen up so much. It's literally been 50-60% swollen beyond its normal size, which is huge. And when you see your normal foot on the right, which is fine, and you see this swollen ankle and foot, not good. In fact, they thought at hospital they were worried I'd broke my metatarsal, like Wayne Rooney did, of course, famously. And they said it was very bruised, but it wasn't broken. But so there's this crack. It's very faint, apparently. They think that if I take it easy, it will just knit and heal itself. But bit of a close call, really. Bit of a close call. So I haven't been doing a lot of modelling in the last week, because I've literally been sitting with my foot up in a lot of pain, to be honest. And just getting around the house and going up and downstairs has been absolute agony, really. I mean, we live in a house that's sort of like a dormer bungalow, so we have got a bedroom downstairs. And it was almost getting to the point where I was thinking, well, I'm just going to have to sleep downstairs. It wasn't quite that bad in the end. I think I might be over the worst of it now, but been a real shock. Been a real shock. So, one or two of you do know about this already. But I've got to say, you never know what's around the corner. How things in life can change very quickly. You know, not sometimes for the better and sometimes for the worse. And don't ever go thinking that you're bulletproof, because I think we all do that to a certain degree. And if people have strokes and heart attacks and all sorts of things that can happen very suddenly. But this was a shock, As I say, it's only happened 4 times, so it makes it a bit... If it was something that happened on a more regular basis, I'm sure I'd have got this EpiPen prescribed to me much sooner. But I'm clearly going to have to demand that. I think it's very serious. And, yeah, I will not be taking no for an answer this time, I'm afraid. Absolutely not. And if I do get a no, I'll go over the doctor's head and I'll get a second opinion somewhere else. So I think that the circumstances are so extreme that there is no defending them not giving me that now. Somebody's told me there's a new version of the EpiPen come out that lasts a lot longer, because apparently they last about 12-14 months, but somebody said there's one that maybe lasts 18 months, because I think you're supposed to keep them cool, aren't you? Somebody told me you have to refrigerate them. I'm not sure that's true. Anybody that's watching this, if you know about these things and you've got similar experience or whatever, please share it, because I want to hear it and tell me more, because I need to know really. But once I get this EpiPen, I'll probably be carrying it, I was going to say wherever I go, but certainly when I go out, for meals and things like that, I'll definitely be taking that with me, because you can't afford to suffer that. If that was, say, a restaurant and I was walking home in the village or something, and you have this episode and you go down, you suddenly have this blood pressure drop, you go down, crack your head on a curb and you're dead. It's as simple as that, Things can change real fast, and it doesn't matter what age you are or how fit you are, all irrelevant, frankly. If you lose blood pressure due to an anaphylactic shock, you are going down, Nasty, nasty thing. Very shocking, I've got to say. No pun intended, And it's opened my eyes a little bit, and it makes me feel a lot more sympathetic to these stories when you hear people have died from these things. Because it comes so fast, it hits you so fast. When I lost consciousness, I got no warning at all, none. I walked into the bathroom, put the light on, and instantly, bang, I was gone, The minute I put the light on, it was weird. And to be out for 20 minutes, And I remember looking at the clock and thinking, Jesus, that's 20 minutes. What the hell happened? Where have I been for 20 minutes, And I woke up in a bit of a state then, all covered in bruises and extremely stiff and very sore indeed. So don't let this happen to you. I would say to everybody watching, whether you're a modeller or you're not, irrelevant, just look after yourselves and just, be aware that things can take you by surprise, basically. It certainly took me by surprise. There we go. Anyway, enough of the medical updates. It's not something I intend to make a habit of talking about, medical issues. But that was such a big event, And I was quite sort of frightened, if I'm honest, afterwards. I never imagined that, having had this problem before, but I never imagined it would manifest itself in such a dangerous way as that. And you've got to be careful as well. If you're out unconscious for 20 minutes, it can affect parts of your body like your kidneys and all sorts of things. Doesn't seem to have had any effects on me. Just awful bruising and bashed foot, which has been really painful. Even sitting here at the bench has been painful. Everything's been painful. I'm not too bad when I'm asleep, in fairness, but you've got to be careful with that, because for me, and I think for most people, my feet tend to go straight when I'm in bed, and that's the worst thing, because the muscle's so bruised it then sort of locks up. Excuse me. And then in the morning, getting out of bed in the morning is a challenge. More than normal. Anyway, there you go, a cautionary tale. Anyway, moving on. I thought today, on a more positive note, we'd have a quick look at something that we haven't seen before, sort of. I'll move Lord Vader. I don't want to anger him again and feel my throat closing up. Thank you very much. So I thought what we'd do is I just wanted to say that I've got a bit less content this week, so I'm afraid that because I've been ill and I've been in a lot of discomfort would be putting it mildly, I think. I'm not a crybaby, and the fact I haven't taken any painkillers, I think you can probably imagine it hasn't been much fun really. But I just wanted to tough it out really and not make things any worse. So I haven't got much to offer you this week, but I've got this one thing that we haven't seen, which I think justifies a quick look, a bit of a treat for you. ICM Sky Crane. Now we have seen this in a different version, so I'm not going to do a great big review of it. But now you see, that is painful. When I sit down, so just to finish off my medical trouble, when I sit down and when I get up, because it's right on your sit bone, you know. Oh, anyway, I won't mention it again. Right, so Universal Pod Sky Crane, and it's the Ericsson Air Crane edition with the see, it's got the Hollywood Hills in the background. So this is pretty cool. Look at that. How about that, eh? Now we have seen it before, but not in this particular variant. 35th scale, so you know it's an absolute monster. So it's kit number 53059. It says on the side, just zoom you back, it says on the side, Sikorsky S-64E Skycrane helicopter with universal transport container. Helicopter and container models with geometric proportions that precisely match the originals. Option to assemble the container with the doors open and the ramp. Decals and markings for both helicopter and container. And it has 619 parts. And here's the real killer. Length 775mm. More than 3/4 of a metre long. Diameter of the main rotors 558mm. You need a big cabinet for this, don't you? Anyway, for adult collectors 14 and over. Oh, I haven't seen them say that before. What I was going to say is, before I forget, I talked about we'll be having memberships on the channel because of everything. Like everything else, that's all. I've just not been able to sit at the computer and do things I need to do and dig into that. I'm still going through the fine details. I just want to make people aware up front that I will be doing this in a way totally different to everybody else. My memberships will look to you. There's probably going to be 3 levels, and I'll talk a bit more at the end. I'll go into a little bit of detail when I've done this, rather than sort of pollute the waters. But I mention it because members might be able to get their hands on this, okay? And I'm probably not going to open all the parts because we've seen it before. I think what we're going to look at really is the decals and things on this, because we have seen the kit in a couple of formats already. He says, trying to get in, there we go. It's got a lot of tape on it, so please bear with me. Might as well talk while I'm doing it. So go on then, I'll tell you about membership. So there'll probably be 3 levels. The first level will be very affordable, but the other 2 levels, there'll be like an economy. They won't be called this, but there'll be like an economy, and there'll be an intermediate, and there'll be like a senior level. Now if you join the senior level, you can get yourself something like this. This is on top of all the other benefits of what the channel is going to be about. As a membership channel, which will be live shows and live members chat for members only. This is not exclusive. Remember what I said before, showing you reviews of things like this will not be behind this paywall, so that won't change. But on the channel there'll be lots of extra stuff, and there'll be goodies like this. And if you're one of the premium members, you know, it will be different to other channels, because at the end of the day you're going to get stuff like this, physically, goodies, rewards, physical rewards, over and above what's mentioned on YouTube, okay? That is my pledge. And you all know you can trust me. I think in terms of being open and honest with people about just about everything, including my medical background here, I think you can trust me, yeah? But you're going to I'll make sure that people get something back and see the benefits of being one of those premium members. So just be aware, this kit retails about £135 top of my head. So, you know, all I would say to people is, is there another box? All I would say to people is that I must ask, the only proviso is that the members will have to cover the shipping costs, that's all, and they get the kit free. Okay, so if you're in the UK, this is going to cost about £9-10 I suppose. Anywhere else, more. Oh, they've done this differently. But previously they've done it very differently. Previously they put it in 2 separate boxes. Do you remember? There was like a top box and a bottom box. Now it's just one big box, big strong one. In fairness, yeah. Well, as I say, we have seen the chopper. Let's just take a look at a few bits, just to whet your appetite. Clear parts. Da-da-da. Yeah, I don't want to sort of go over old ground. But anyway, so just to finish off, I'm mentioning this because this is going to for sure be one of the things that X-Review samples will probably be rewards for members. So of course, that's not going to be, $1.99 memberships. It isn't, is it? And if that's not for you, if you think I'm not paying that, but bear in mind what you are paying for. If you stump up and it's like £9 a month, you will get commensurate value for that. Yeah. I mean, there was one option where it was like 50. What was it offering? $19.99 a month, and I thought, no, come on, even no, that's a bit too much. But it's not going to be £2 or £3 to be in the premium league of membership and to be getting stuff like that sent to you. And you will from time. I'm not saying this because this is a bit of an exceptional one, but you've seen that there's a lot of these kits that retail for about £70 thereabouts. If you're in the premium league, I think I might call it. Well, I won't say now. I won't say what I'll call it, but as I say, there'll be three. There'll be an economy one, which is going to be a couple of quid, probably £2.99, I think. And then there'll be a medium one, probably around the £6-7 mark, and then probably one around £10. Something like that. And we will have a situation where you'll get your money back one way or another. You'll get value from it, I promise you. And you'll get all the members' benefits on top. So you'll get physical goodies, all sorts of things. And they won't just be ICM kits either, there'll be other things. I've got one or two ideas for other things that are coming that you will enjoy to receive, and then you feel like you are in a proper community. I'm not going to be doing all this social media stuff that some other people do. I just don't have the time to go through all that, and I don't engage in social media anyway. So of course that won't be part of my offering or value proposition. What I'm offering is a loyal community of people that pay a regular monthly membership fee, and in return every few months they're going to get some good stuff sent to them. Yeah, you have my word. Check this out, Ericsson Aircrane. This is some of their really wild decals that they've got on this version. Georgia Beach, got all the instrumentation there. It's all very nice. And then there's actually a second decal sheet with some more on. And yeah, I do get the suspicion that these might be the Edward grade decals because they just look to have that overlapping. I wonder if you can tell this. I really must ask them again to give me an answer about this. But if you look carefully, you can see that, yeah, there's this sort of carrier film goes beyond the normal limits, doesn't it, in terms of a bit of a halo around the actual decal. So that does tend to infer that it's you see it there as well, can't you? On the big black, I'm not sure what it's supposed to be, the big black decal. It's got this sort of excess almost, hasn't it? Which makes it look like it's come from that decal production that Edward used. So I think we can safely say that is the case. Let me give you a little bit of a history about the old SkyCrane. I feel a bit knackered really, I feel a bit beat up this week. Not been my best couple of weeks, to be honest, recently. I was just enjoying that mosquito build, full of the joys of spring, and now I had this incident and it's knocked the stuffing out of me a little bit, to be honest. It says the Sikorsky S-64E Skycrane is a versatile helicopter for construction, installation work and transporting large cargo. It also serves in rescue operations, carrying a special container adapted for rescue services. These containers were originally developed for the military CH-54 Army helicopters. Oh, of course they call it S because it's not military, that's the difference. Yeah, okay. Each container features windows, doors, a rear ramp allowing it to carry military equipment such as artillery pieces or all-terrain and light vehicles. The containers were even used for parachute deployment of soldiers. Again, a total of 22 containers were built, each with its own military registration number. The containers now used with the Sikorsky S-64E Skycrane are the former military units repainted in bright orange colour scheme, typical of the civilian S-64 helicopters. So basically the kit is the same then, I guess. It's just an alternative scheme really. So I probably won't go through it all any further, other than to show you the fact that it is a great big beast of a chopper. Zoom into there. I'll put you a link to the other reviews that I already did on this, but it's an absolute beast, this thing. Mass templates for the windows, yeah, not too difficult on this one, I don't think. It's got these bulging windows. Oh my goodness, that's a bit weird. Oh. And then you've got your sort of colour call out at the end. Yeah. Looks nice, doesn't it? Lovely. So there we go. Now we've got some lovely clear parts. I think I'm going to have a look at these because it's got these bulging windows. The one thing we haven't seen. I'm going to have a look at that. If I zoom you in on this artwork, the artwork, you can actually see what I mean. The side window now, can you see? See the bulge on that? Look at that. Oh wow, that's amazing, like a bubble. So they've got complete visibility front, side and rear. That's impressive, isn't it? That's very cool. So that is a difference that we haven't seen. So let's have a look at these clear parts, because they are always a pleasure, aren't they? The ICM clear plastic is usually something to behold. So I'll just very carefully, I may, it's proving a bit awkward actually, just move that off there. There we go. And we've wrapped it in foam, so you know it's going to be something impressive. Here we go, here we go. Okay. I missed something here. I think there might be another one. I think that's not what I thought it was. Yes, there's another one. I've opened the wrong one. Okay, so we'll have a look at this. It's in here, hiding from us. So I'll show you this because there's no reason not to. It's just that I realised straight away that this bulging window I mentioned, it's just not there. So let's have a look at what we have got out. And the quality of these clear parts, and I can tell you that they are, they're well up to the usual standard, if not exceeding it. Look at that. Wow. So this is actually the standard glass that you get on the SkyCrane. And isn't it beautiful? Again, some complex curves there, and they've just nailed it, haven't they? These clear parts are what they do best. So I'll just put that back very carefully for a second, and I'll zoom you back, and we'll have a look at this other set, because it's got these bulging windows which look really intriguing. Quite a challenge to produce, I think, as well. So I think that's going to be worth our while. Bear with me a second. Just need to get this back in. The thing that makes ICM bags always tricky, I love them to be honest, but they are tricky because you end up with this self-adhesive resealing sticking to everything as it tries to go back in. Can be a bit of a challenge. There we go, it worked. Yes, all is well. All is well. Right, there we go. So, this is the one we want to see, because this is the one that's got this unusual, in fact I think the whole, maybe all the screws in here are the parts that make it the different parts from the standard chopper. And yeah, there's one or two things to do with the way they've got the vents and the ducts for the engines, which is slightly different, I think, from the military version, because they don't have to have them all cowled up to protect them from heat-seeking missiles, of course. So it's all out in the open, isn't it? Can you see here? These are the vents. Reminds me of a Hawker Harrier's vectoring thrust jets. That does actually. And then here you've got your lovely intakes. I go just cut across to the artwork just to show you. You see what I mean? Everything's out in the open here, isn't it? They've got it all, you know, without any sort of bodywork on it to try and keep the heat signature down. It's because it's for civilian use. They don't need to worry about that. So that's a bit of a difference there. Now, what we really came in here for was these plastic parts that I was promising you were going to be intriguing. So let's have a look. Oh yes. Oh my god. Oh, those are beautiful. Look at this. Check that out. These bubble windows at the side. Look at that. Now that is about as challenging as clear parts get, I reckon. Aren't they nice? I mean, in terms of distortion, there's bound to be some distortion because the real thing would have some, but it's not distortion like that you would criticise. It's really been well done. It's so nice, isn't it? Look at the bulge on it, the sort of globe effect. So nicely done. That's really tricky to mould, I reckon. Ah, stonking. I really like that. They've done it beautifully. It's like a fisheye, isn't it? Fisheye window. Absolutely brilliant, isn't it? Look at that. Well, that was worth seeing. So that is a very impressive kit, isn't it? As I say, we have seen the rest of it many times, so I'm not going to all that again. But you have got one or two parts there that do differ from the military version, not least those windows. Absolutely amazing. Most impressive. Yeah, I was a bit surprised when this came out actually, because I thought, oh, another version of it. I think I'm going to put the clear parts together, and I think that would be more sensible, you know. Yeah, I was a bit surprised when they said that they were doing this, because I thought, oh, is there a market for another version of it, you know? Well, I think there is, because it has got some subtle and very interesting differences there. Make it worth, in some respects, make it perhaps a bit more interesting than the military version. What it's doing over Hollywood is it? Perhaps it's lifting the Hollywood side and fixing it. You know, that's one of its jobs. All right, let's put that there. Get that all in line, and seal it up, and we shall call it quits. So I'm going to revert to what I said last time. I think I said it was a 9.75. Now the only thing I was critical about in this kit, of course, and I think it still remains. I'm just going to check. Yeah. The only thing I was a bit critical about was the lack of data on the instructions. If you remember, there's lots of things on this helicopter which has got some very complex mechanical engineering on it, and lots of really complex components and assemblies which really could do with some explanation. And I said this at the time, and I actually did draw it to ICM's attention as well. I'll get you another example. Just flick back. So there's a couple of areas where it was really really hard to sort of keep up. Here we go. Yeah, things like this. Things like these assemblies to do with engine and gearboxes, and it doesn't really say what they are. And I think it would be really helpful to be told in English, well, in any language, just that we can translate it, what they actually are, these things. Because not everything is obvious, I mean, like this one here, what's all that? It's not giving you that immersiveness, and it's so well done, the plastic, it's such a shame, I think. And we just need a bit more, don't we? I mean, obviously when you're building the box, that's more straightforward. It's more about the engine components and the gearboxes and that, and just being told what these parts really are I think that would be a bit more helpful if they actually could, yeah, in the future. I mean, I'm sure ICM are struggling for staff. That's one of the biggest problems they've got. So we're not going to be too harsh on them for that, of course not. And I'm extremely grateful that they've sent me this. It's a really beautiful thing, which could be yours. If you become a member on the channel, this will definitely get raffled off to one of the members, premium member. So, you know, bear in mind what you're going to get for your money. We may even have situations where excuse me, we may even have situations where if we have 2 or 3 interesting kits that I'm going to raffle off, and we have 3 winners in a month, say, I may even give the 3 winners, sometimes, I'm not guaranteeing this, but where I can, if it's possible, I may give the winners the option of which kit do you want. And if 2 of them want the same kit, then we just sort of I'll flip a coin for it. But you'll still get a kit. You may not get your first choice. I think that would be nice, wouldn't it? I mean, to actually have a situation where not only are you, for your membership fee, not only are you getting the value of, you know, special early viewings of new releases, for example, which could be really cutting edge and just come out, or we could be having some live shows where we'll have building sessions, and you can share perhaps your own. You can send in me photographs of your own builds, and I'll share those on the channel. Members' builds, that would be good. And of course, there'll be all sorts of videos that are for members only, and live chats that are for members only, that we'll never get on the main channel, and will be purely member benefits only. So you get all that, of course. This is a bonus I'm talking about. This is not, you know, you must join me because you get a free kit. No, that's a bonus. That's a bonus. But it's a very much, I know from my perspective, if I was a viewer or becoming a member, that would be very attractive to get some latest state-of-the-art kit, extra view sample like this. Some of them don't get handled very much, as you just saw. And to get that, and just have to cover the cost of the postage. Now, I say shipping, of course, it's a bit more complicated for friends like Steve in Canada, or Aubrey, or Lord Flashheart down in Australia, Angus. It gets a bit more expensive then, especially something like that. It's probably about $35 shipping. But even so, that's still $100, probably $150, maybe more, depending on which currency we're talking about, that you're not paying. So you for $35 you're getting $180 kit, you know. I think it's fair, isn't it? I think you're not going to be disappointed. Of course, if the shipping was a problem, I could send you, you know, cheaper kits if you wanted, smaller kits, not cheaper kits, but smaller kits if you preferred. Again, I'll enter into discussions. I can't guarantee you'll always get exactly what you want, but I'll try if possible. So, you know, there are some really attractive benefits for you to consider there. I'll come into the details of that very soon, probably around Easter time. It's going to be April, mid-April, I think. So watch this space, and we'll have more news on it. But I say, don't go thinking that this is something you need to compare with other channels. This will not be comparable with any other channel's memberships. It's going to be completely different, and I haven't even looked at what other people are doing, quite frankly, because I don't want to be led by that. I think I've got a formula that people will see. I can see initially it'll be a smallish number of people will be taken on board, because I think people will be a bit sceptical and people don't like to part with their cash. But those that do will very quickly endorse it, I suspect. We'll see. I think so. But your support's very much appreciated. And I say, I haven't been too well lately, so I'm not trying to use that as an excuse of sympathy vote. But I've not got as much content this week as I'd hoped, so hopefully we'll get back to normal. I am feeling better though. That's the good news, that for the first time in 2 weeks today, I probably woke up thinking I could actually walk around on my foot without complete agony, which is what the case has been for a couple of weeks, you know. It just shows how you can have an accident. Accidents can come out of the blue. I won't be having any more crab. I mean, we're going to have a complete blanket ban on it just in case now. One thing they did say to me, by the way, going back to the health thing about anaphylactic shock and allergy, one worrying thing that the hospital told me, they said, you be careful, they said, because it's not uncommon for people to develop these allergies in middle age, things like crustacean. And the lady said to me, she said, it's also not uncommon that every time you have a reaction, it is worse than the last time because something in your immune system has become alerted to this enzyme or whatever it is that triggers it, you know. And it's quite typical that the reactions become stronger and more extreme. And she said at the hospital, see your GP and get an EpiPen. You must have one. So I shall quote her to the doctor. And anybody else that's ever had anything like this, I would urge you not to become complacent if you haven't had it recently, because I said I've only had it 4 times in my whole life, 4 times, and yet here we are. And I could have easily had a very serious outcome. So don't think it won't happen again. And from what this lady said, it could be worse next time. So that was the real final words of doom in my ear that made me sit up and take notice and think, yeah, I need to make sure this doctor, I'm not going to be fobbed off by him. No chance. So I'm seeing him in a few days, so we'll get that sorted hopefully. And the next time, if it should ever happen again, I can get instant and urgent relief, because you can't afford to. It was quite frightening. Even my wife was a bit frightened, you know. To see me like a bright red strawberry and my hands shaking and what is happening to me? At least I didn't melt like Donovan did in that film, you know. It felt like it though. There you go. So take care, folks. Anyway, thank you for watching. Back to ICM. I think I gave it 9.75 out of 10 last time. Same again here. Slight misgivings on those instructions, but the kit is beautiful, isn't it? A stunning kit. Wonderful plastic. And a real presence. It's just where you're gonna put it. Thank you for watching. Hope you give us a like. Give us a 10 out of 10 with a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and please, we need all the support you can give us at the moment, as I mentioned, including my other channel, Peter Goes Rogue, which has been struggling a bit lately. Please check it out. We've got up to 800 subscribers, and I really need 1,000, otherwise YouTube don't pay me. So everything I've ever done on Peter Goes Rogue, I've never got a penny, not one, for it. So please go over there if you're watching this. If you're a regular watcher of the modelling channel, please support us at least by subscribing, watch 1 or 2 of the videos. There'll be stuff over there you'll enjoy. There's cars, there's pets. We've had a puppet show, we've had aircraft, air displays and all sorts of things. Like me doing talks about, what was it, UFO and Thunderbirds and all manner of things that I'm sure you'll enjoy. So please check it out. Anyway, until next time, thank you for watching. Thanks for all the good wishes that some of you give me, and I suspect some of you are going to be giving now, but really do appreciate it. And the rest of you, I say, you know, hear what I said here. It's been a bit of a wake-up call for me, to be honest. And it wasn't to do with anything else. It wasn't alcohol related. It was completely out of the blue, this was. Completely took me by surprise, I tell you. And to actually go out cold like that was a bit of a shocker, so there we go. Anyway, thank you for joining me. Stay well, stay safe. Do take good care of yourselves. You know, keep an eye on your blood pressure, and if you've got any issues at all, don't put them aside and think I'll be fine. I'm a man. I'll be fine. No, that won't help you. So stay well, stay safe. Until next time, thanks for watching. Take care, and bye for now.